So are people going to be comfortable with me? Am I going to be welcomed with open arms, or am I going to be like celebrated?
I love that. Where did you hear that?
Coin that.
Yeah.
And then what it feels like for a girl came in. This is such a queer trans show. It's like we weren't the ones in the shadows. We were the ones being celebrated. Often in media, they'll cast a mixed race person and they'll never cast black people because they're like, oh, we've cast black people. When I walk into a room, no one sees my whiteness.
Exactly.
They only see my blackness. He comes from, I like to present feminine. If a stranger on the street needs to know for some reason, you know, and for my safety as well, like where to put me, I'd always prefer to be in the feminine bracket.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Alex, how art thou?
Good, how are you?
I love your nails.
Oh my God, thank you. Everyone always compliments me on my nails and they're just press-ons and the gag is. It's basically because I change. No, but I change my mind every day. And like, you know how you go to the nail shop and then you spend like 80 quid and you have to have them on for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Could never be me. I need to like change them as frequently as I want to.
Do you actually change every day?
Not every day, but like I also wear contacts, so I can't take them out if I have nails on. So basically what I do is at the end of the night, I just take off these two, and then I take my contacts out, and then in the morning, I've only got to put 2 nails on.
Oh.
If I have this set on. You know what I mean?
So funny.
I love that.
Just like at night, you're just like there, like.
I'm just like these 2, and then these 2 are like stumps, and the other 8.
That's so funny.
I literally did these on the way to Trans Pride yesterday. I was on the overground like with some glue, and I was just like sticks.
So how long do they
do.
stay on, press on?
Nail glue.
And how long?
Oh, it's some good glue.
Really?
It is.
But
Like,
I
'cause
do
I
have
feel
the
like they
glue in my
pop off.
bag just in case.
Oh,
I take
okay.
everywhere I go. I have nail glue with me because they cut. Sometimes if I'm like working the house, sometimes they pop off, and I'm like, oh shit, and then I'm missing a nail. But I've always got glue in my bag.
Oh,
Preparation. I love that.
And do you have a different like ego, like alter ego, when you're like performing or like doing stage performances or acting?
I think it's truly just what you're seeing now, to be honest. I think I
Okay.
give
Really?
this always, and then when I'm at home, I'm literally just like a hermit crab. My favorite thing to do is actually just be in the house.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. I'm such a homebody. Me and my other half, and we basically met 5 years ago, right? So it was kind of COVID-y, kind of not COVID-y. So we basically, our whole like first 6 months of our relationship was sitting in the house because you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything.
Okay.
So I know it's a long story on how we met, which I'll get into.
Yeah,
but
I wanna
it's
hear the
such
tea.
a good story. But
Oh my
like,
God, stop.
But basically, yeah, those first 6 months were basically just like all we could do was sit in the house and play Monopoly. So
that's so fun.
It is so fun, but basically now, like my like safety in our relationship is just being in the house. So like my favorite thing to do is just like be at home.
I love
your relationship is so cute. I mean, what we see on social media,
right.
obviously, but like it's sorry,
No.
because you love it, don't you?
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Like
So
it's so good. And you could
handsome.
just tell there's so much love there.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
it
I'm
really
so
is.
lucky. It's never wasted on me either, because obviously I've had some relationships that haven't been as beautiful as this one is.
Okay.
And I was never ever the girl that was like, I'm gonna get married. But when I met him, I was just like, oh, I'm done. I was like,
Really?
Yeah, straight away.
So how did you meet?
Yeah, let's get into it. Why not?
Let's get straight in.
Okay. So I'll give you the long version, right?
Obviously, yes.
So we basically met because actually at the time, so this was like 2020, and obviously like lockdown was crazy and all that stuff, and it had kind of just got to the point where you could like leave the country and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I left England straight away. I was like, no, for real. I was like, I've been in this house. I was living by myself as well. And I was like, I've been in a house by myself in London for like 4 months, which was great because I don't know if you remember, but it was like the best summer ever.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
it
the
really
weather was
was.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good. So I had the best time, but honestly, like lockdown tomorrow, I'd take it. But, I was like, okay, I have to get out. So then I went to Paris, and I was like in Paris, and it was my first time in Paris. And it was amazing. And I met some Parisians who were like, you'll never see Paris like this again, right? Because it was so quiet. They're like, usually it's so many tourists. So I was doing all the stuff, like going to the Louvre. The Louvre. And there was no people there. It was amazing. Then I went to Croatia. And I was like, just like, because I was like, I need sun, but I need to relax. Because obviously lockdown was so stressful for me. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to go to Berlin. So I went to Berlin and I lived there for like 2 months. And I built this whole community of people, like whole network. And it was like the best time of my life.
Why did you decide to move to Berlin? What was that?
I basically didn't decide. I was just like, I'm just going to go. And then I'd never been. Oh, no, I'd been once years ago for like 2 days. And I basically was like, this is the best place I've ever been. It's such a like queer. Have you been?
No.
Shut up.
I mean, Germany, sorry for any Germans that are listening, but Germany to me feels...
But you've been to Germany.
I've been to Hamburg, but I just feel like it's a moodier, darker version of the UK, and I wasn't vibing, to be honest.
So Berlin for me, like, there's basically like such an openness, and everybody who I met, there's such a huge queer like space, but it's like so expressive and so fluid, and obviously like the sex scene there is so like in your face, and it's so like, I don't know, it's just so liberal. It's so liberal. Was my experience of it anyway.
Yeah.
And I basically went there, didn't know a single person. And I like booked an apartment for like a few months. And I literally like within a week, and maybe it's because it's me, right? So maybe like I was obviously going out to queer spaces and being like, love your thing, what's your name, who are you, how's your father? And basically just became...
Tell me trauma.
Honestly, and just made like so many, like some of my friends who are coming to my wedding, you know, like literally like lifelong friends.
Okay.
So I was there, and then I was like, I'm gonna go home for Christmas, and then I'll be straight back. I literally had like a return flight booked.
Right.
And then when I was home, my fiance now, basically, he DM'd me, but I hadn't seen it because it had gone to my requests.
Okay.
And then like one day I was looking through my requests and I was scrolling, and his was the last one at the bottom. So it was like gonna expire that day because I think they're only in your request for like a few weeks before they like get filtered away. And I saw his thumbnail, like his picture, and I was like,
damn.
hold on. I was like, hold on. And I was like, this guy is a bit of me. So I was like, okay, let me chat to him. So we started.
So good at it. I got it.
Wait, this isn't even the good bit.
Oh, okay.
So we were talking, and he's younger than me. He's like 4 years younger than me. So I was like, I don't think we're gonna date. But I was like, because I was 24 and he was 20. Okay. So I was like, I don't really see myself, and I wasn't looking for a relationship at all because I was living in Berlin and I was like partying, and it just wasn't me. And he was like, let me take you out for a drink. And I was like, no. And then we talked some more, and he was like, can I take you out for a drink? And I was like, no. Oh. I know. And then basically, I know.
The pride.
I know. And then he asked me again, and I was like, okay, you know what? Like, it's not going to lead to anything. I was very honest. I was very transparent. I was like, look, I just want to, we can go for a drink. Like, I'm not looking for a relationship. And he was like, great, me neither. We basically went for a drink, and we were together all night. And I was literally just like, this is so weird, because you know what it's like in queer relationships or queer dating. You sometimes like spend like 2 days with each other and then you never see each other again. So I was like, this is going to be one of those moments. I'm going to spend like 3 days with this guy and I'll probably never see him again. And because I'm going back to Berlin, right? Cute. We spent like 3 days together, and then I was like, oh, now I'm going like to my family for Christmas, because it was like the 20th or something like that. Went home, and I was like, the whole time I was like, why can't I stop thinking about this fucking guy? I was like, it's so weird. I was texting him 24/7. Literally, we were texting 24/7.
You started it?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I would wake up and I'd just text him. We were, but there was never any, the thing is with him as well, there was never, and this is how I knew it was for keeps, because there was never any like games.
Right.
There was never any, oh, I'm not going to tell him how I'm feeling. There's never any like, oh, I can't text him because he hasn't texted me. We were both just so like,
oh my God, I love
that.
Okay.
So then the second I got back to London on the 27th, he was like waiting for me at Euston, and then we basically like, I went back to his house, and then I had a flight booked to Berlin on New Year's Day, so the 1st, right?
Yeah.
And it got cancelled because of COVID.
Sign.
So then I was like, okay, and I'm kind of the kind of person that just does whatever's in the moment, right? I don't like to plan. I'm just like, I'll just see where this goes. So then I booked my flight for the next day. I was like, okay, one's going tomorrow morning, but I have to get this one, surely. And then it was fine. So it was 6 a.m, my flight. And I FaceTimed my friends in Berlin, and they were like in a nightclub because it was New Year's Day. And they were like, get here. And I was like, I'm coming. And then he was like, you know what? Why don't we stay up all night? Because it's like your flight, you're going to have to leave at like 3 a.m, right? So we'll stay up all night. And then you'll go.
I wish I was there.
I love that. I know. And he was like, and we can just, whatever. And I packed up everything I owned into this huge suitcase that I just bought from Argos like the day before.
I love.
And I basically was like, okay, cool. And then it was 3 a.m. and he was like, it was my idea. I was like, let's take a picture. We were laying on his bed. I was like, let's take a picture, like, to remember this crazy 2 weeks that we've had together. 2 weeks. I had known this guy 2 weeks. And I pulled my phone up like this to take a picture, and I dropped it on his face, and his eyebrow split open, and he started bleeding and crying. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm so sorry, but my Uber's outside. I was like, no, I was literally like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, my Uber is literally outside, and he was like, it's fine. He's like, he was like, I'm not crying because of the pain. He was like, it's like a few things. So I was like, okay, bye. And I got in the Uber.
Did you cry?
No. No, I didn't cry. And I got in the Uber, and I basically looked up at his balcony, and he was stood there like with peas on his thing.
That is so cute.
Bleeding, crying, and I was like, oh my God, as if I'm about to leave this poor boy.
Yeah, right?
Drove away.
But I did.
But I did. Left, got to Stansted at like 4 a.m, and I got my huge suitcase out of the boot, and I was standing in line to check my suitcase, right? And I was like, if I check this suitcase, I can't change my mind, because it's not like you got hand luggage, right? Once your bag is on the plane, they don't just let you on, off because of like security and stuff. So I was like, shit, I'm going to have to go. And I stood in the line, and I was like, I don't want to. So I
This is giving like Sex in the City, like every rom-com. I cannot deal.
I know. So I basically just turned around, went all the way back to his flat, and it was like 5 a.m, and he's deaf in one ear. So he was asleep on his hearing side.
Okay.
And I was like banging on his door, and he couldn't hear me. Oh, no. I was out there for ages, like 10 minutes. And then he opened the door, and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I didn't go. And we've basically lived with each other since that day. And that was 5 years ago. We just never left each other.
I am obsessed.
We've just been together ever since.
You know the string theory and like all these little moments. Like, imagine that decision, how that's changed the whole course of your life.
Has it changed your course of your life as well, like in career and everything?
I don't know. You never know what would have happened, right? Like,
what were you doing in Berlin?
Would you have stayed in Berlin?
Oh my God,
Sorry, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
Well, the good thing about working in television is that usually you're never filming where you live, right? So when I filmed What Feels Like for a Girl, for example, we were filming in Wales. When I filmed Too Much, we were filming in Reading. So it's like usually like you do an audition at home. It's just like a self-tape.
Yeah.
So I said to my agent, I'm in Berlin and I can tape from wherever. So if I get a job, I'll just fly home, right? It was like an hour and a half to fly from Berlin to London. So I was like, I'll just come back. And she was like, great, live your best life. Like everything is so digital nowadays. So she wasn't worried about it, and neither was I. But when I was in Berlin, I will say this. I was much younger than, obviously this was 5 years ago. I was partying, I was a bit reckless. And I think that if I had stayed living, I probably would have ended up dead, because I was truly I was truly just like going out on a Tuesday, coming back on a Sunday. Like the lifestyle there is so, it's what you choose. I'm not saying like everybody does that, but it's full on. So I honestly don't know what my life would be if I hadn't met him. I'm such a different person now. Like he's just so, I don't know. I never thought I would be this like Stepford wife. Yeah. But apparently I am.
That is so cute. And you stayed together since then. That is so cute.
I think in our 5 years, we've maybe spent like 2 weeks apart, in like 3 days here, 4 days there.
Right.
Because he just comes everywhere with me.
Do you know what? I love that.
I was surprised he wasn't coming today.
Yeah,
that would be
so
cute.
That would be so cute. But I think that's so nice, because sometimes we spend literally 24/7 with each other.
Pretty much.
But a lot of other people in the community see that as like a little bit weird. And they're like, oh, do you spend that? And we're like, my best
like
friend.
2
like,
days, 2 days away, I'm like, oh, I miss him.
I know.
So I fully get that.
I honestly, I'm just like, there's no one else I'd rather. And it's not even like you have to do anything.
Yeah.
He can be sat on the other side of the couch. We could be sitting in silence, but I'm like, I feel so safe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, who else would I rather be with?
Yeah.
And it's so bad, because I go to stuff and I go out. And even if we're together, we were at an event together last week, and I think we'd been there for like an hour or two, and I was like, should we go? I was like,
our slippers are calling.
Should we go home and just like watch TV?
Yeah.
It's the COVID effect.
Honestly, that is so true. Like we will go out and we'll be like, right, we haven't been out in a while, let's have a good time. And then we'll go out and it's nice. Like it's not a bad time. Yeah. But I'm just like, I can't wait to go home and just debrief, hug, and like just have a chat, have a cup of tea, and like
Yeah.
What's your, do you know what your attachment style is?
I think so. Okay, let me talk through these again. So
people change depending who they're with or how they are.
I think that's where I'm at, because I think I and I can hold my hands up and say I've probably been like, every one of those things.
Okay.
I think when I was not with him and I was with dating other people, I was always the anxious one. Like always the like, tell me where this is going. Tell me you like me as much as I like you. Always. And to be honest, probably even the start of this relationship, right? But I think I've just got so, I don't know, I just love him so much, and our relationship is so strong. I don't think there's I have nothing to be anxious about. And I know that he doesn't either. I think the biggest thing going into this relationship that I said to him was, it has to be communication. And if we have anything that's like, not even like a problem, but if anything comes up, we never like sit on it, we never sleep on it. It's never like, I never look at him and go, something's up and you haven't told me. We always just stop what we're doing in that moment and go, this is everything that I want to tell you right now, all these thoughts in my head, and let's deal with it right now.
I love that.
So I used to be anxious for sure. Like that used to be my tea. And then avoidant, I've never been. I've never been like, oh, fine, he didn't text me. I want to. Never.
Okay.
I've always been like, I've always been like, so.
Okay.
So what's going on? Let's talk about that. You know.
So and you can't let an argument. So let's talk about like resolving arguments, for example, because that's quite a big one for couples.
Yeah.
So if you guys have a tiff or an argument or whatever, are you the person that wants to talk about it there and then, or do you need a minute to calm down and then talk about it, or do you know that he needs a minute to calm down? How does that work for you guys?
It's a bit of both, you know, because I'm always the person that wants to solve it, but not immediately. So he's the one that's kind of like, we have a problem and I just want to fix it, and I'm the one that's like, I understand that, but I might need a moment to like think about what I want to say, to cool down, or to just not cool down, because you know what, we actually never like argue, but it's more like
cool down in your head though.
Yeah,
so
gather myself.
Settle,
yeah. So it's like often I'm like, I get it that you are a person that he's quite conflict avoidant. So he'll be like, I just want to fix it so that everything can be rosy. And I'm like, I get that, but that's not life, right? You need to like process so sometimes I'm like, babe, I get that and I love you for that, but I want to think about what I want to say, because you can't take back words, right? So I'm like, let me think about it and then let's talk about it. And it doesn't take me long. Like usually I'm just like, okay, and then I'll like go on a spiel. But yeah, I'm definitely the one that's like, let's squash this for sure.
What do you think it is the thing that you guys, because you've been together 5 years, did you say? So what do you think you've learned from each other and as a relationship to help with that conflict resolution? Like, is it given that space, or do you find there's something that you're like, we didn't used to do that and actually this really helps now?
I think learning what each person needs, right? So I know that he wants to solve things straight away, and he knows that I sometimes need a minute. I think also what he used to do, which he doesn't do anymore because we've spoke about it, he used to kind of just like go inward and be like, oh, you're mad at me, so I feel like I've done something wrong, so I'm gonna like wait for you to come to me. And I told him quite early on that I actually hate it when someone is like waiting for me to come to them. Like I would much rather someone say, let's talk about this, because that's how I want to solve things. Because if someone's you know what, like sometimes when you argue with someone and you know that they're waiting for you to talk to them, but we're both as stubborn as each other. So he'll be waiting for me to speak to him, but I'm waiting for him to speak to me. So it's just like, then we're not going to solve anything. And I used to be like that for the first couple of years, but I feel like as we've got so much more secure and so much more comfortable with each other, I'm like, babe, let's just squash it. Because also when you're both adults and you both have such busy lives, we don't have that much time together. So it's like, I don't want to ruin our one day off because we had an argument about you putting the spoon in the wrong place, because I am like that. I'm like, babe,
how many times?
The dishwasher's right there. Like, why is it on the side? Just put it in the dishwasher. So I'm like, you know what, let's just talk about it right now.
Listen.
I'll say it in a nice way. I'll say, babe, do you remember that thing that I might have asked you about 10 or 11 times? Yeah. Could you try doing it?
This is giving Faris.
Me, literally. I'll try nice, but then I can't. I'll be like, you know when you let things slide, let's say he keeps all the doors open after or he keeps putting the dishwasher. So it will be the third time that he's left the spoon out of the dishwasher, for example. And then you're like, babe, like, you know, but they don't realize that you've been compassionate and kind because you haven't mentioned it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yep.
So then they're like, oh, you're like nagging. I'm like, but I've actually let that slide all week and you're still fucking doing it.
I think it's two things. I think the first thing is, I used to always think that when stuff happened like that people were doing it intentionally, right? So I grew up in quite a tumultuous environment. So I have a lot of trauma behind if something's happening, it's to my detriment, right? So people are doing it purposefully. So it's that, which he's obviously not doing it just to annoy me. And two, it's like, if I do it every time, then he knows that, oh, the spoon's never there because someone else does it, which
Yeah.
I will not
I'm
stand
not
for.
your mother.
Yeah. It's like, he's always like, not him personally, but it's like, I don't want someone to be like, oh, I love that my clothes are just always back in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
No, it's because I wash them, I iron them, and I put them back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's those two things where I'm like, I need you to do things so that I don't have to worry that you think I'm doing them because you hate me, and B, that you think things just get magically done.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you find that there is a dynamic, like almost like a heteronormative dynamic with your relationship, or do you find you're quite good at balancing that?
I think it's quite balanced, you know. I don't think there's any. Yeah, I think we both just do it. I think the thing is in our relationship is he has like a full-time job, and I obviously as an actor I'm kind of like I'm either working loads or I'm not working at all. So if I'm not working and I might be, you know, like seeing a friend or like seeing my family or like doing like a project that takes me like 2 hours. But like if I'm at home, I'll do all those things, right? I'll cook, I'll clean because I'm like he's at work. But then on his days off, sometimes he's like, no, I want to cook. So I'm like, okay, sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no like roles. It's kind of
Yeah.
just like who feels like it. And he's honestly, I don't know what I've done to deserve this man, but he is an angel. Like he could have been at work all day, and I'll be like, oh, I don't want to cook, and he's like, I'll do it.
With your relationship, I'm imagining at the beginning was different to how it was now with you being more like gender fluid. How was the conversations around that, and how did it look within your dynamic?
Oh, good question. You know what? It was never really a conversation where I ever had to like explain anything. So when I met him, I was very, I was like male presenting. I was always non-binary boots, like, and he knew that. So I was like, I'm very gender fluid. At the time, I was like he, they pronouns. I was like very like, like I had a deep understanding of who I was at that time. And I was kind of just like, this is me. So if you ride with it, great, you know? And then over the years, I think the best way he explains it is just like, he just loves me so much that there's nothing I could be or no one I could be that would ever change that. So it's like, I remember the first time I ever was like, oh, I think I might get my hair in like braids, right? To be more like soft and feminine and, you know.
Yeah.
And he was like, that sounds great. And then I got it done and he was like, babe, it looks amazing. Like, I came downstairs once and I had like a beat on, and I obviously looked pussy. And he was just like, baby, you look so good. Like, he's just so, and I've obviously had conversations with him where I'm like, look, I get it. When we met, you were like this gay man. And if you ever feel that, you know, you are, I don't know, like missing something, not being in a relationship with someone who's like this, like male presenting guy, let's talk about it. And he's like, that's never even crossed my mind. He's like, I just love you. He's like, you are just someone, you could just be anything. He just loves me.
Yeah.
It's just your soul.
You blame him.
No, it's just always been that for him.
I'm getting quite a lot of like communications, like a really big thing.
Yeah,
like
it
throughout
is.
your relationship.
And from the beginning,
it feels like that's what you.
I think that's the
worked
key. And it sounds so wanky, doesn't it? To be like, you just need to talk to each other.
Yeah,
but I
you
think,
do.
no, you do.
Yeah.
And I think I've been in relationships in the past where people aren't open to that. And it's probably why they've not lasted. Because if you can't meet someone where they're at, it's like, how can we grow together if we're like resisting or like not doing it together? Like, and I think we kind of hit that point so early on in our relationship. Like probably, and you know what, maybe it's because of COVID. So much of our relationship, I guess, like I met his parents on FaceTime like week 1. And then it was like month 3, I'd gone home and visited them. We were already living together, right? So it was like so much stuff that in a regular relationship, you would do like so gradually. We just did it straight out the gate. So there was no time there was just no like muddy water because it was just like, we're just full throttle.
Yeah,
I love.
Well, there's so much to talk about. I feel like this is.
I have so many questions.
I know,
no, go.
No, because I feel like I want to talk about the interracial aspect of your relationship.
You know, it's something that I think about a lot and at the same time don't think about at all.
Yeah.
Because I think he's so socially aware and he's so like, I think also we met, 2020 was such a like upheaval of education for so many people.
Yeah.
So we met in such a specific time that I feel like would never happen again.
The peak of like BLM.
BLM, COVID, like it was just such a weird time, right?
Yeah.
So he's so just like, obviously there's always more work to be done, and no one's like this like picture perfect, you know, ally to any sort of community or marginalized group. But he's so like, I never have to be like, oh, let me explain this to you. I'm never like, oh, we're heading into a situation or a social setting with like my family or like my friends who are all POC, and he's just so. Maybe it's because he's like well educated off his own back, right? He's done the work, he's read the things, he's listened to the things. So I don't know. It is something that I think about a lot, but I just think he's so with it. And I guess obviously you could always, you know, I'm not like he's done, you know.
Yeah,
he's not.
I get what exactly.
He's just so open to learning and open to who I am in every aspect, right, of my identity, my gender, my race, my social class. He's just so. Yeah, I don't know. It just works.
Where is your background from?
So my father's side of the family is from Jamaica, and my mother's side of the family are white British. Okay. And then we grew up north in Leeds. Okay. And he grew up in Lancashire. So we're both from up north. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. He just, you know, when you just don't need to explain certain stuff. Yeah. But obviously in the back of my mind, I'm not crazy. I'm like, I still understand the different dynamics between our lived experiences, but what's most important is that he gets it too. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, because with us as well, like there's so much learning I've had to do of the Arab culture and Jordanian culture, and you with like Sierra Leone and the black side. So you're always kind of like learning as a relationship.
I think
goes
I've learned
on.
More about being mixed race than I ever thought.
There is a difference there, 100%.
Like you've taught me a lot about, because I think obviously it feels weird to say I'm mixed race because I feel like it's it's almost like a synonym, isn't it? Like
for
sometimes
black and white,
often.
But I know that like my mum's white and my dad's Arab, and I know that my identity was a bit confusing. But I feel like my look is almost like more, I guess, like accepted as like a look rather than like, whereas you will just be seen most of the time by like the white public as black. Like they don't really differentiate mixed race. They don't really see the white side of you. So I feel like your experience is so much more different. That was really eye-opening to me. I loved learning about
that. And I've had this conversation a lot where people are like, you know, mixed race people aren't black. And I understand in like a colorism aspect, there is obviously the huge problem with just equating mixed race people to black people is that often in media, you know, they'll cast a mixed race person and they'll never cast black people because they're like, oh, we've cast black people. And then there's the whole colorism aspect, which like, well, this
and there is a
huge
privilege
problem.
there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think where I find difficulty with it is like when I walk into a room, no one sees my whiteness. Exactly. They only see my blackness. Yeah. So it's like I'm kind of not afforded any of the social privileges that come with having any whiteness to me. So it's like, why would I not stand proudly in my blackness and be like, I am black in my mixed raceness, you know, in my dual heritage. It's like, well, no one sees the white element. Thank God. So, you know, but it's just like, it's such a nuanced topic. But yeah, being with him, I often growing up, I lived with my mum and my three sisters, and it was kind of like, you know, I didn't have much of a relation with the black side of my family at all. So as I grew up, I learned so much about what it was to be a mixed race person in a small town up north, but also then as I kind of navigated the later part of my life, like as I got to London, like when I was 17, I was like discovering so much of my culture and my community that I was just not a part of growing up. And it's kind of like, you just learn so much about yourself constantly. And I feel like when you add in gender as well, it's like I'm not the same person I was an hour ago, let alone 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? My coming out, I never really had. It was like one of those weird things where I like basically grew up with my mum and my sisters, and my sisters all went to dance school. So I also went to dance school. So I was already in this like very like performative like world, which for like a young guy, which I was at the time, like doing ballet and stuff and like musical theatre and all that jazz. I don't know. There was never any like assumption, but it was never a conversation that I ever had. And I never, to my mum's credit, I never ever felt like I had to hide anything, right? I was always just me. I was always like watching Desperate Housewives. Like I was always just me through and through. Never any judgment. Then when I was like 18, I had my first like boyfriend when I was at first year at like drama school, and then we broke up, but I'd like introduced him to my sisters and they'd spent a little bit of time together, but not as my boyfriend, kind of just like, this is my friend I go to college with. And then when we broke up, I basically was like obviously so heartbroken. It was my first ever heartbreak, and I was like, oh. And then I was like, I'm gonna have to call my sister, and I called my sister and I like explained to her that I was like going through this breakup with that guy that she just met, and she was just like so supportive and just like talked me through it and was just like, well, you know, and just so I never never came out because it was kind of just like a.
So you didn't have to come out to your dad's side or that side of the family either?
No. No. Yeah. At that point, my grandmother had passed away, unfortunately, and I hadn't spoken to my dad at that point. I haven't spoken to him for like 15 years. So at that point in my life, like the only like immediate family was my mum and my sisters. So yeah, there was never any of that. And same with my gender identity, really. I guess because I kind of like gradually became who I am today by exploring being like feminine with clothing, and even now I fit like in the non-binary sector of like being trans-fem non-binary. So it's like I'm not one thing, I'm not another thing, because I kind of just like to be me, and I've always just been that. So anytime I've been like wearing an outfit that you wouldn't necessarily put with someone who was masculine presenting, and I'd send it to the group chat and my sisters would be like, yes, you look so good. Like there's never ever been like a coming out for me ever.
That's nice.
Which is how it should be, right? It should always just be like,
You naturally grow into who you are and everyone just accepts it.
Yeah. So I'm really fortunate in that sense. I think I have the best sisters in the world.
I love.
That's cute. I was going to say the trans femme. What does that mean, just by definition?
So to me, I think it means something different to everyone.
Okay.
I think to me what it means is, so trans is obviously such an umbrella term, and trans basically means anyone who transitioned away from their birth sex. So I'm obviously not male because I was assigned male at birth. I've transitioned away from it. Okay. So where I sit is I'm non-binary in the sense that I don't like pick any sort of gender that fits with me. I just like to float and just be me. Yeah. And the trans femme for me comes from, I like to present feminine and be feminine to society because it's everybody else that needs to know where I fit. So I don't have a problem with going out and being like, oh, I look like this or I look like this, but everybody else in society needs to know where you fit so that they know how to treat you, right? So they need to know if you should be respected, if you could be attracted to, if you could be worthy of a job, worthy of, you know, the seat on the tube. You know, everybody in society needs to know where to put you. I don't need to know where to put me because I don't care.
So you're quite open with all the terms.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But because everybody else needs to know, I'm like, okay, I'll present female because that's the most that I'm comfortable with. So I'm trans femme in that world where I'm like, if you assume that I'm feminine and I'm female, when they stop me on the street and say, excuse me, miss, I'm like, oh, yes. But I would always prefer that than to be in the masculine space. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if a stranger on the street needs to know for some reason, you know, and for my safety as well, like where to put me, I'd always prefer to be in the feminine bracket at this point in my life than the male one. So that's where I kind of slotted trans femme non-binary into my identity, because I was like, I am non-binary and I don't pick either of the two that everybody else needs me to pick from. But I'm just like trans femme boots.
Wow. that explanation is amazing.
Yeah,
and so many like,
but it's so true. It's like everybody else needs to know how to treat people.
Yeah. You're almost like forced to, okay, well, this is who I am, rather than just being gender fluid and being who you want to be.
Yeah.
We watched the amazing show, What It Feels Like for a Girl.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, your role, you were incredible.
Oh, thank you.
How did acting lead to that?
So I'd been acting since I was 10. I did my first like CBBC show when I was 10, which at the time I didn't even realize was acting. I was just like, I'm just like messing around. Yeah. And I was such a naughty kid. I remember the writer actually on set. It was so bad. Looking back, it still cringes me so bad. I was just such a naughty kid. But obviously, when you're a child who has undiagnosed ADHD, you're just naughty, right? You're not neurodiverse. You're just a problem child.
Yeah.
So
what was it called? The Files?
The Revenge Files of Alistair Fury.
We saw a bit of
No,
it.
you did.
Yeah,
You did your research much. God. And basically, my only memories are living in Newcastle, filming it with a chaperone because my mum couldn't take time off work, and being shouted at by the writer. I remember he like pulled me in front of everyone, like the whole crew, everyone, because I was just such a naughty kid.
Were you just like cheeky though? Like
I don't know.
Okay.
All my childhood I blocked out, but I just remember him like screaming.
Okay.
Like, and obviously this was a long time ago. I don't think he could get away with this now. But he screamed. It was so wild.
Okay.
So yeah. So
and
I
you were like
acted
11 at this point?
10. 10. I know.
Savage. I can't. Okay.
I know. It was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild. And then I kind of just like went to school and I was like, what am I going to do? Because I was like, I'm really just like not. I mean, I could be academic if I paid attention, but I just never did. So I was kind of like, oh, I have to do something. And I was like, oh, I'll just do like acting and stuff because I'm really I enjoy it. And I think I'm good at it. So I was like, I'll go to like drama school. So I like applied for a drama school and I didn't think I would get in and I didn't prepare and I didn't do anything right probably.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I got in and I was like, oh, so I'll do this. Do you know what I mean? I'm like I said, in my life, I kind of just like go with the flow.
I love that.
So I'm just like, oh, I'll do this. So I went to drama school, did that. And then when I left, I started doing like West End musicals and stuff. And I kind of got to a point where I was like, I don't enjoy this as much as when I was doing TV. I think people think West End is like really easy and really fun and it's such hard work. And obviously all acting and whether it's TV, stage, screen, anything is hard work. But those people, when we were doing those shows, like they're athletes, like doing that show, like any show 8 times a week is such hard work that I was basically just like, I don't enjoy the job enough to do it, to keep doing it, because there's some people that love it. And I'm always of the understanding, like if someone else could be doing it and they love it, let them do it. It's not fair on me. It's not fair on them if I'm like doing it because I was like, I just don't enjoy this enough. So I was like, I'm gonna get back into TV because I really love it. Like I love it. And I kind of felt like I was pushed into musical theatre, to be honest, because my sister used to be a musical theatre performer. And when I was like 16, figuring out what I was going to do, she was like, do this, go do this. Like you can sing, you can dance, you can act, just do it. And I was like, okay. So I got pushed into it and I was doing it and I was obviously enjoying it. I had a great time and I met amazing people and learned loads of stuff. But I was just,
it's a lot of
it
work.
got to a point, where I was a bit like, oh, I've had enough of this. So then I started auditioning for TV and stuff and then COVID hit. So there was no TV to audition for.
Oh shit.
So all the the week before, thank God, I just moved agents because I was like, the agent that I was with obviously knew me from when I left drama school. I was such a different person. And he was truly like the best. And there was no reason that I would leave him. But I was like, I just want a fresh set of eyes on me. And I moved to an agency that is more TV focused.
Did you always know you wanted to go into TV?
Yeah,
or was it just
I've just
naturally
done it since I was so young. That it kind of just, it feels like going home when I'm on set. It just feels like the place I'm supposed to be, which I always thought I would feel when I was in the West End and I never did. So yeah, it just felt so right. And then I moved with her and then the week later, everything shut down and she stuck with me anyway and she didn't have to. And she's honestly just like, I voice note her at like 5 p.m. or at the end of day and I'm like, it's me. I'm never going to work again. And she's like, Alex, and she talks me off a ledge probably like 3 times a week. So she's the best. Shout out to Lorna. But yeah, and then we started taping for stuff, but it's difficult because in the entertainment industry, there's such a stigma, if that's the right word, between theatre actors and screen actors. And it's so hard to just flip between the two.
Oh, is it?
They really see you as one thing.
Interesting.
So it took a few years to kind of like be forgotten as a musical theatre performer and go into rooms for TV people that I'd never seen them before, right? So like it's so hard for TV actors because I think sometimes casting directors call in people that they've either seen in something or that they've called in before. So just like getting into those rooms as someone that hadn't done TV since they were 10 years old was really, really difficult.
Yeah, so starting from scratch.
Yeah, it really was. So I spent like 18 months after I finished a show in town just auditioning. And I was like, kind of like going crazy because I was like, I was making such a huge decision to leave behind a career that I'd worked so hard in for 8 years. I worked on the West End for 8 years. I was kind of like taking a gamble because I was like, this could never happen for me because of so many things, right? There could never be an opportunity for me to work on screen. And that's fine because it doesn't happen for everyone. And I was always of that mindset that like, this might never happen. And then What It Feels Like for a Girl came in 2023, which is crazy because now it's come out in 2025. Yeah. So it's so funny because I always say, when I sent my first audition off for What It Feels Like for a Girl, my nephew hadn't been born. My sister was pregnant, and now he's 2.5.
That is crazy. Oh my God.
But
Oh, no, sorry, 2 and a month.
Did you film it back then?
No.
Oh.
So my first audition was like a self-tape. I sent it off. It was, you know, when I was so exhausted from doing tape after tape at this point. I was just like, you kind of as an actor just have to send it off and forget about it, which is so easier said than done, right? Because you start thinking in your head, oh, what am I going to do with the character? What am I going to do when I'm filming? What am I going to do with, you know, how great is my life going to be when I'm on TV? And then I got another audition for it, and I was like, oh, this is great. And I went in.
That specific role in that TV must have been like.
Well, I wasn't in for that role.
Oh.
Yeah. This was so interesting about casting processes in general.
Yeah.
It was such a jigsaw.
Okay.
So I started auditioning for Lady Di, and I auditioned for her for like months. And every time I would go in, it'd be different scenes that because they were writing it at the time, and like I was reading. And every time I would go in, I would be in there for like an hour, like with the casting team, doing different things. They were like, "Can you do a Nottingham accent?" And I was like, no, not at all. And I tried. Don't get me wrong. I did the work and I tried. But I think at some point you have to go, look, it's not going to be good, and I don't want to do a bad job. So, and they were really open. Like we tried loads of things. Then I was in for Sasha, which at the time, I don't know if anyone's read the book, but it's Asha that became Sasha. So we all kind of got moved around so much. It was kind of like slotting who fits where kind of.
But they
vibe.
knew they wanted you for sure.
Yeah, which was so nice to hear, because they kind of told me that towards the end, because I'd been auditioning. So my first audition was in June. My last was in January of 2024.
Oh wow!
Which is so
2024.
which is so not the norm for TV.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So it was a long old schlep. And then the last ever audition I had, I was there from 10 in the morning till 7 at night. And we moved around all different. There was 3 groups of 3. And in those 3s, there was an Asha, a Byron, and a Lady Di. And the only people that were there that I ended up doing the show with was Laquan, who played Lady Di, and Adam, who played Dirty Damien. So we were the only ones. And we never were in a group together. So I was like, if I do get this job, I'm not going to work with either of those people. Yeah. Then I didn't hear anything from like January, February. I got a phone call saying I got too much. So I was like, oh, great. So I'm doing something,
too
right?
Too much the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got too much.
I got too much on my plate. No. Yeah, I got the Netflix show. So I was like, oh my God. I was like, I've been auditioning for like 2 years now. So I was like, thank God. And you know, it was such a job that I really wanted to get. And I was so lucky to work with Lena Dunham and all those people. So I was like, thank God. And then I got a phone call the week later being like, so you didn't get Lady Di? And I was like, okay. And I was kind of a bit heartbroken because I didn't know I hadn't got another role. So I was like, God, as an actors, we really just spent like 8 months auditioning for a show to walk away with nothing. I was like,
resilience.
I was like heartbroken, but I was also like, that's the game. So I was like, whatever will be, will be. And then my agent was like, but they want to kind of like create this role for you, which is in the book, and it's like a smaller role, but they're going to make it bigger for the show. And I remember saying to her, I do not care which part I play in this show. I just want to be in it, because the show, I just knew it was going to be so fantastic. I'd read the book that it's based on. I'd read some of the episodes. I was like, it's going to be so brilliant. I honestly would have taken like any part in it. I would have been like a walk-on girl just being like, woo! Yeah, literally. I was like, I'll do anything to be in this show. So then, you know, by luck, it just worked out. And then they started filming, but I missed the first 2 weeks of filming because I was filming for Too Much, the Netflix show.
How do you balance filming 2 shows at the same time?
Well, and this is the thing, because I remember thinking to myself, if I'd got one of the other roles, I wouldn't have been able to do Too Much. Because they were filming from the first week. So I was like, I wouldn't have been able to do both. I would have had to pick What It Feels Like for a Girl.
Again, it worked out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I was kind of like so fortunate that I got this other role that they were like, oh, that's fine, because your scenes don't start filming for 3 weeks into the 18 weeks that we filmed. So I was like, great, brilliant. And I was kind of like up and down. They were sending me to Wales for costume fittings for What It Feels Like for a Girl. But then I was up and down in London doing costume fittings for Too Much. So it was kind of like, it's always the way as an actor though. You spend so much time doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then 2 jobs come at once.
Yeah.
So you just kind of just have to be adaptable and just like,
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, because 2025 feels like your year as
Yeah,
well.
I
Do you know what I
hope
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm getting married.
releases
Yeah.
and
I hope
turned-
there's like lots more stuff like from the buzz of this. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna lead to other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm so
because
excited.
you are really fucking amazing.
Oh, thank
like you
you,
really
thank
are.
you,
Yeah.
Like you
You're so
buy
kind.
into your character, even in Too Much. I was gonna say just like, should we start it being like, it's Sunday, are you horny? And I was like, no, if they don't get it.
Oh no, I get it. Yeah. No, yeah. So it was like a real weird time where I was kind of just like, but then I finished Too Much. I did it in 2 weeks, and then I could just focus on What It Feels Like for a Girl because I was
Okay.
there all summer. We filmed it
Yeah.
till September, so yeah, it was.
Did
like
it
a
resonate
ride.
with you, the show, like the character? Was there any healing?
No, I actually learned so much about myself,
Okay.
and working with other trans people is such a like unique experience.
Yeah.
I was saying this on a panel this week. I was kind of like, when you step onto a job and you're the only one, you kind of feel like, ooh, how are people going to get me? How am I going to fit? How am I going to... It's kind of like a scale that I work on where it's like comfortable, welcomed and celebrated. So are people going to be comfortable with me? Am I going to be welcomed with open arms? Or am I going to be like celebrated, right?
I love
So-
that. Where did you hear that? Did you?
Oh, I know. I just made it up.
Oh my god, I love
Obsessed.
that.
Coin that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Trademarked.
yeah. So I was kind of like, okay. And I stepped onto Too Much before I stepped onto What It Feels Like for a Girl.
Right.
And it was the most welcoming space ever.
Nice.
And I remember having like a heart to heart with Lena at one point between takes where she was just like, you are everything. And she was basically just like, if you hadn't, because I was talking to her about What It Feels Like for a Girl and how the overlap was. And she was like, Alex, if you hadn't been available to do this, I don't know what we would have done. And obviously me being me, I was just like, gagging.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like fangirling so hard because I was just like, what the F, right? I was literally
That's
like,
amazing.
I'm just this like girl from this town. So that was like such a gag for me. And then when I stepped onto What It Feels Like for a Girl, it was the opposite, right? We were the majority. I was
Yeah.
like, this is such a queer trans show that we felt like we were
Right.
we weren't the
Minority.
yeah, it
or-
was like
yeah.
we weren't the ones in the shadows. We were the ones being celebrated.
Yeah.
So it was
such
really-
a unique experience as
Yeah.
well. I love that.
I know, which never happens.
Yeah.
And we're such a sisterhood, the girls. Like I see them all the time. I was with them yesterday at Trans Pride, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just friends for life from that show. What you see on the show was what we were like off camera. Actually, what you see on the show was us watered down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, you're just like all over each other.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can kind of
Yeah.
see the chemistry leak
100%.
through, and I think that's why
Yeah.
it aligns
My
with so
favorite
many
scene.
people.
I love my favorite. Sorry, was that a question?
No.
My favorite scene was the scene when his dad comes back, and that when
And you're all in the house.
Yeah.
that was such a good scene to
Yeah.
watch. We cracked up. It was so good.
Yeah.
What
But
was
it's
that like?
interesting, isn't it? Because that's what it's like. Like
Yeah.
you can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
so on display, and then when someone comes into your world who isn't from it, and you don't know them, and they represent all this stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
toxic masculinity and heteronormative, and it's like you don't know how to act in that situation
Yeah.
because it's like you don't know on my scale where you're gonna fit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So. And that was the first time I'd met Michael Soccer, who plays
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Steve, the dad.
He's scary.
Kinda hot,
No,
though.
he's,
Kinda hot, yeah.
he's so sweet and he's so kind, but we hadn't met before. Like we hadn't met at a
Yeah.
read through, we hadn't met at
Oh,
anything.
okay.
He'd done some scenes with Ellis, who plays
Yeah.
Byron,
Yeah.
but we hadn't rehearsed that scene together. So we started filming it, and then we thought that they were gonna say cut, Michael would come in, and it'd be like, everyone, this is Michael. But it got to that point and he just walked in and did his lines. And I was like, oh, we're just doing it.
But I think that worked really well
Yeah.
because actually what was really interesting is how each character stepped into the energy that they could pass for. Like I felt like you really stepped into the feminine energy and like you could see that was like, well, this is what I'm going to pass for, so this is what I'm going to step into. Like that
Same with
was,
Lady
Yeah.
Di being the whole like mask, like
Yeah,
identity
and the
on.
and that
was so fun to
yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Got it. But that I feel like so many queer people can align with
Yeah.
that feeling. I think
Yeah.
that's why it was so important and such a pivotal
especially
scene.
like Arab side. Like I'm imagining my dad walking in to a room full of like my queer friends and me
I
just
don't-
hoping that they get it and they act the way
Yeah,
they're meant
just-
to act so that he could
Yes,
not
yes.
kill us all. So I'm just like, everyone know your roles, please. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
so
so good.
true.
I loved
Yeah.
that scene. It really was powerful. And what was the Too Much experience like? What
Oh
was
my
that?
God, that
As
was
in that character as well.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really interesting, and there was so much scope for me to kind of like bring myself to it and to just have fun with it, and it was kind of written on a real person. So the wedding is actually like a real wedding that actually happened.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and
Like that?
yeah, and this person got up and performed, and the girl Clara who played the bride in that episode was at that wedding, so she was telling me how like this gender fluid person got up and gave this speech, and I was like, this is so gaggy.
Yeah, that's
So it wasn't like a thing that I just like made up,
Yeah, that's amazing.
And the week before I'd gone into the studio, I wasn't actually singing that live. Spoiler.
What? Crazy.
I'd gone in and Louis, who is Lena's husband, wrote the song. Took him all of 5 minutes, I bet. Literally Monday, I'm horny. And we recorded it, and then I just went to set, and oh my God, I was so nervous because obviously in that show there's huge people. Richard E. Grant's in it.
Were they all there?
So in my episode, it was like, I remember I got the call sheet and it was like Lena Dunham, obviously. So I was a bit like, Adwa Boa, the British supermodel, gorgeous, who is also like the sweetest person ever.
Yeah.
Raven Smith, Will Sharp, obviously, Meg Stalter. And I was just like, God, these people are really famous. They're really famous.
Yeah.
And also on my call sheet that day, it said Kit Harington because he was there for something else, maybe like a fitting or something, because he's in a different episode.
Oh, okay.
And I just knew the kind of people that were in this show. Stephen Fry, like huge people.
Yeah.
So I was so nervous that I'd basically learned it because I knew that my moment would just be me, like on a microphone.
Yeah.
And I had to like lead this scene.
Yeah.
And I'd learned it like inside out, inside out, inside out. And then I got there, and the first day I was filming when it wasn't my moment yet. So I was kind of like at the table, like all the like when the focus is on like Meg and Will, but all the wedding guests are there. So it was like a nice ease into it.
Yeah.
But then Tuesday was just my scene, essentially all day, like different shots, the wide, the close up, the follow.
It takes that long?
Oh yeah. But basically, like, that like 2-minute performance that I did took us like 8 a.m. till 8 p.m.
So you had to do it over and over again?
I did that
song?
routine 15 times. Bearing in mind, I'm in heels and I can't take them off because of continuity.
Yeah.
But before I started, it was like 8 a.m. Obviously, they picked me up at 5. I got to set at 5:30, got into makeup, got into hair, got into glam. And I was literally like on set at 7:30. And Lena came up to me and was like, hey, so we're doing your scene. Here's my thoughts. And she turned around her clipboard. And my whole monologue that I'd learned was crossed out.
Oh, no.
And she'd rewritten it in like biro. And obviously, because I was on set with these huge people, I couldn't just be like, okay, I need a minute to go and learn it and come back. So I read it and I just went, okay.
No, you didn't.
I had no choice because I couldn't be like a diva and be like, I need to go. I'm on set with like Will Sharp, right? I couldn't just be like, I need a minute. So I just read it and I was like, okay. And then while they were setting up the camera, I was just going, in my head, I was just going, oh, these new lines. And it was similar, but not too similar, which is actually worse because it then all started to merge in my head.
Yeah.
So I was just like going over it. And then they were like, okay, turn over. And I was like, oh my God. And I was just like, I just had to go for it. And I just did it.
And this was the first time you were on set for a TV because this was before.
Yeah, I hadn't
what
done
it feels
TV
like,
for like
15
years.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
It probably
okay.
is perfect though, thrown in the deep end.
I'm in, if fight or flight, I am fight. So I'm ready to like go.
Good.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're doing this. I have no choice. And everyone, because obviously you've seen it, it wasn't like me doing a speech while everyone was going on with their business.
No.
Everyone was watching.
Yeah.
So there was the principal cast, which was like 20 people who were like prestige actors who I admire so much.
Yeah.
And then like 80 supporting artists just watching me and crew. There was 3 camera units. It was like one of the biggest sets I've been. It was so many people. And we were in this marquee that was boiling. And I was just
Kind of
like
like the studio.
I like the studio. So I was just like, I'm just going to have to go for it. And then once I'd done the speech, they were like, Dwight, do you want to do the routine? I hadn't choreographed it. I hadn't come up with anything. So I just went for it.
No way.
You made that up on the
I
deck.
just improvs. And then Polly, who's the choreographer of the show, after I'd done like 5 takes, came up to me and was like, I'm loving what you're doing. Do you want me to give you anything? And I was like, no, I'm happy if you're happy. And then
crazy.
she was like, oh, maybe you could. She like stylized some things for me. Like when I bought my leg out and stuff, she was like, oh, I love that. So we did collab on that aspect.
And you did a little bit of voguing as well, didn't
Yeah,
you?
but I'd already done the chunk of it like
That's
5 times. So I was
wild,
like,
I think there's a lot of misconceptions around what you said about stage performance and then TV performance. I think people don't realize like how much work goes into a 2-minute scene.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Like,
Because
honestly, I know I just said that theatre is hard, but TV is tough.
Yeah, but I get what you mean. Like, I know what you mean. Like, the theatre side of things, it's not that it's like harder.
Yeah.
It's a different type of hard, really. And
they're both just really hard.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
Don't.
No, honestly, but like when you see those club scenes for What It Feels Like for a Girl, it could be 30 seconds of us dancing. That would have taken 6 hours, and there's no music.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
there's
just
no
kind of
music.
like
We're in heels. I'm in the most uncomfortable but iconic outfits. I'm tucked boots, which is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're in makeup, you're in hair from like 5 a.m. Yeah. So it's like you film all day. And then when you finish at 7:30, you get back to your apartment and it's like, well, now I need to learn my stuff for the next day.
So you're always on.
Yeah, you learn your stuff for the next day. And then it's like, well, now I need to go to bed because I've got to be up at 4:30.
Is
So
it
just
fun
work.
though?
Oh my God.
Because I feel like even though it's go,
No. It's the
I feel like that
most
whole experience.
fun
Yeah.
ever. So like when we're doing those club scenes, because there's no music and you have to look like you're having the best time, we were just going rabid. We would just like, come on, like we would always as a group be like, girls, we have to like
amp each other
and
up,
if
let's do
any
this,
time one of us was like, because it was always me and my heel, and me and Hannah I think had the most uncomfortable shoes ever, so we were always just like, girls, I actually can't do this anymore. And they'd swap us out. Sometimes we'd put our rugs on like in between takes, and then we'd have to get back into our shoes, which is actually worse. But then we'd just be like, come on, and Hannah would be like, I've got you, girl, and we'd just be like,
I
know.
My other one is just thinking like hairstylist, curly hair. How is that?
It's not good.
Really?
It's
even
not
now?
good. Well, I guess it depends job to job.
Okay.
I think I wouldn't say lucky is the word. I think that they do what they can if you're lucky. So on What It Feels Like for a Girl, for example, I had braids in.
Yeah.
And obviously having your hair braided, for anyone who knows, isn't a quick job.
No.
To have a full head of box braids takes like 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
So you're not going to do that with someone that you don't feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because it's so traumatic for your hair. Like you can't just take them out, pop them in, take them out, pop them in. So I have an amazing braider that I trust with my life, Kanya. She is incredible. I've been going to her for years. So I was like, I will go to my braider. Like I would go back to London every like 4 weeks, get my hair rebraided, and then go back to Wales, and they would like cover the cost of that.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky in that sense, whereas they were open to that.
Yeah.
I'm unlucky in the sense that every white person could just step on the truck and have their hair cut.
Yeah.
Or like have their hair how they needed it to be.
Yeah.
Like I would be sat in makeup and the guy next to me would be having like his hair like cut and stuff, and I'd be like,
it's different.
You know, it's very different. On Too Much, they offered me a hair braider. They were like, we've got a braider. But for me, I don't know. It's just like like I said, it's such a traumatic experience for your hair to go through
trust.
if it's not a braider that you, I just didn't want to go through 8 hours for it to be like, this isn't right. Yeah. So, you know, maybe, and I think I know people of color who work on jobs that have incredible braiders, but you'd be surprised. When I was working with a person of color recently, she was like, I was on a show with an all black cast, and she was like, they all had to go to their own barbers for their shape ups and to get their hair cut. She was like, they didn't have anyone on site who could do that. And it's like, it's an all black show.
Yeah. And you think times have changed, like 2025.
Yeah.
You'd have people, but
I think a lot of the stuff that's talked about accidentally becomes times have changed. But actually, it's just talked about, and nothing's actually changed. Nothing's changing, but it's not changing as rapidly as we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I think that's because hair on set is something that covers this quite well. It's a Sky documentary, which I think was really,
talks about
really
black
interesting.
hair, afro hair, and the braiding and how bad it is in the industry.
And I think if you like have to wait so long to be treated equal on set, then you definitely have the right to be like, this is the person I trust with my hair. If you're not going to really prioritize providing that, then I think that's a fair comment.
Have we hit time?
But I'd love to literally could talk for hours with you. That's the thing.
Sorry
but
about how hot it is, but that was so lovely, like so nice, and you were so vulnerable, and there's still so many questions. I might just bug you and
Yeah.
text you.
You just get long podcast voice notes from
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Like, so how was Leeds actually growing up? And then how did this happen?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
But thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh my
I
God,
hope it
no,
was
thank you
good.
for
It's been
having me.
amazing.
And good luck with
honestly.
everything.
Thank
and
you, thank you.
make sure you watch Too Much on Netflix.
Period.
Yeah.
And make sure you watch What It Feels Like for a Girl on BBC. Is it BBC iPlayer?
Yes,
Yeah.
BBC.
Am I saying all the right stuff?
Yes, you are.
And thank you so much, Alex. That was absolutely
God, thank
amazing.
you.
Lots of love.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.